happening, family? This is your man, CRB Jr., Courtney Robert Brown Jr. here at Motown Mafia Podcast. Of course, a Big Boss Filmworks production. We hope everybody is well out there as we approach this holiday weekend. We got two special guests, one returned by popular demand. We got Big Lou, the other half of Big Boss Filmworks. He's holding down the studio right now. What up, Brother Lou?
Hey, what's happening, everybody?
So it is all good. But yeah, we're going to do a little bit of higher level conversation today. And of course, we're going to keep it real and about life in the struggle, which has always been the mantra of what we do here at Big Boss Filmworks through our podcast, Motown Mafia. So let me start off. We're going to do Beauty Before Cool, Brother GQ. New to the platform. First time here, and we are so happy to have her, and we really looking forward to her insights. She is not just another pretty face, but a pretty face with some brains. We have, let me not, because despite we was just talking that I know how to talk. Damien?
Yes, you got it right.
Oh, see what to see. Product of that good schooling, them white folks. Thank you, Mr. White Folks, for teaching me how to read right. Thank you, Mr. White Folks.
Well, black people taught me how to read.
Right, okay, and they say, for my relatives down south, them was good white folks. Yeah, good white. They wasn't like the others. These was good white folks. Thank you all, good white folks out there. Danny and Woodson,
yes.
Attorney at law.
Yes.
Practicing here in the city of Detroit. Welcome to have you here. We're going to give people a little backstory here. And then on the other end there, we got Brother GQ, sure. World famous detective, police officer, narcotics unit out of the city of Detroit. Was here during the heyday of Detroit, and career ran all the way from its heyday to sometimes some of the city's demise. When did you left right at the bankruptcy, or right before, or right after the bankruptcy?
Right before.
Right before.
That was smart.
Yeah,
you got all your pension. You got all your pension. Shout out to GQ and all those brothers who
Happy Memorial Day. I get it in before the holiday.
That's right. That is right. So welcome back, family.
I appreciate you, my man. For real.
How you been?
Good. Doing good.
I was speaking to our partner in crime, Al Prophet. He gave his regards. I told him he was going to be on the pod today. Okay. Shout out to Al Prophet, Scott Bernstein. Shout out to Eddie Baby. He was just there. Eddie went back. He really wanted to be here to come.
Oh,
man. Ready to pick it up. We're going to put that together. We're going to put that together. He really enjoyed the work that you did on the pod. Sure. And all that. But let's get to our special guest. Miss Woodson, you are an attorney.
Yes, I am. I've been an attorney for 17 or 18 years now.
18 years. Wow. When you start practicing law when you was 10?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You native Detroiter?
Yes, I am. Born and raised Northwest Detroit.
Northwest Detroit. All right. West Side in the house. That's a good thing. You started off your schooling where?
This is where I'm losing the street cred. I started off in private school from kindergarten through 6th grade. I did 7th and 8th grade DPS. Then I went to private school for high school.
Well, see, okay, so let me ask you this, because I left Detroit Public Schools early, after 1st grade.
Okay.
And so kindergarten and 1st grade was Detroit Public School. And when I got to school in the suburbs, I was already at a huge disadvantage in just 2 years.
Oh, wow.
Really, I went from the smartest. I went from the smartest 1st grader to the slowest 2nd grader.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It was traumatizing.
It's at that age, yeah.
Yeah, so Detroit Public Schools had you prepared to go compete once you went out to the fancy schools?
7th and 8th grade, I'm going to say the foundation from K through 6, not to short 7th and 8th grade, because if it hadn't been for the 7th and 8th grade, I wouldn't have gotten to Cranbrook. My 8th grade teacher told me to apply to Cranbrook. I was going to go to Country Day. She's like, no, Cranbrook. And I decided to go to Cranbrook.
And for those of you who don't know, I think I'm in the Detroit area, Cranbrook is not just one of the best high schools in Michigan. It's one of the best high schools in the United States, and actually in the world. Yeah, it's somewhat parallel. Okay, so after Cranbrook,
Howard.
All right, shout out to the Mecca, to the Bisons, to the big Howard fan.
Yeah.
Go Bisons. Okay, and what'd you study at Howard?
I studied international business with a focus in finance.
Okay, were you still thinking about being a lawyer then?
I was not. I wanted to do the mergers and acquisitions in New York and stuff like
You was about to go get the bread.
I was.
Then you wanted to help somebody.
I did.
That's when it all go wrong, GQ. She stopped. She was on the right track. She was about to go get the bag. Then somebody told her, you can save some of these niggas out here. Go do the right thing.
I love y'all though, but yeah.
I just is true. My sister's attorney, as we were saying, off camera, and she was just going to change the world and make everything right. And so my mother, well, obviously, was married to my father, so you know the backstory there. She had her go talk to her preacher to try to explain to her the reality, the real world, GQ, the real world. And you know what the preacher told her?
What?
Baby, you got to go get you some money, then you can help somebody.
That's right.
That's because you remember what Jesus said, the poor gonna always be with us. So you can't change that. The poor go, and I remind people that is in the scriptures. You know, you can't do nothing with that. You know, don't worry yourself too much with that. That's beyond your pay grade. If you think you want to get rid of poor people,
No, I don't want to get rid of poor people. I just want to help our people.
okay, maybe who at some time are poor.
Yeah, that's the challenge.
Okay, so we give up on making soft money on Wall Street, and then you decided to go to law school.
Yes, at Michigan State. Go Spartans.
Go Spartans, go Spartan, go green, go white. I'm matriculated at Michigan State for 1 year.
Why did you leave? Business card.
It was time to punch the clock for the family.
Oh, okay.
Time to punch the clock for the family. Yeah. I left after my junior year planning on coming back to finish my senior year. Mm-hmm. And then I grew up. It was time to wire money out the country to the Bahamas. So dealing with crooked bankers, and Daddy introducing me to the people in his world, and it was just. I ended up moving to New York, and then I met Artie. No, moved to New York and I met Artie years later. But I had a good time at Michigan State. Even though I was a wayward student there. I was a very wayward student.
It is one of those places that it is easy to become wayward.
And it was a big market full of kids that like to get high.
No comment.
Okay. So I took advantage of it. Okay, so we get out of Michigan State. Then what do we do? Get out of Michigan State Law School, that is.
Yes. Then we come back to Detroit and we start working at the Defender's Office for Wayne County.
Okay. So after GQ has arrested these gentlemen,
A lot
a lot
of them.
of them,
I'll let them right back out the door.
you know, and see, okay, so tell me, all right, so how much communication do the cops do you in the defender's office do you have with the police officers?
I think it depends on the attorney. Like for me, I talk to everybody because I feel like if I'm talking to you and I think I'm one of those people that's kind of disarming, when people see me, they don't see me as someone who's really thinking like 3 steps ahead. So it's easy to talk to people about life, and then we start talking about the case. And I get little nuggets that I wouldn't necessarily get out of a police report. And then when I get you on that stand, you're going to regret telling me those nuggets, but it's okay.
But it's okay.
She's probably 2-8 against us. Well, I should say 2-8 against me.
Against you.
Yeah.
But, I mean, okay, most people cop out, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. If it's a simple case, yeah. A lot of them.
Yeah. I don't like that, but
You were saying that you enjoy going to trial.
I do. I think that trials are really where you see change. Like, I hate to say it because it was such a sad event, but during the pandemic, when you couldn't go to trial, you saw really people doing justice. You saw people actually evaluating cases and trying to make a deal or an offer or dismissing stuff that really didn't need to go on because they knew at one point all these cases are going to come back to court in addition to the cases that are still going on. I don't know where that went now, but that was going on about 1 or 2 years ago. Not to the extent that it needs to go on, but it was a start. I don't know why it stopped, but it needs to come back and it needs to move, get more momentum.
So most of your cases, you had a high conviction. Did you have a high conviction rate?
Oh, yeah. Man. I'll say about, now she disagreed, but we discovered her. Understand me?
right.
See, because we went to court every day. She wasn't too bad on the eyes. Now, all this Cranberg shit, I didn't really
You didn't know about
all that.
We didn't know.
Right, we didn't care nothing about that. But what the people don't know is that police officers and attorneys, we all hang out. And we become friends.
Yeah.
And sometimes it be a favor.
Yeah, like, lunchtimes.
Yeah, we go out, we go to parties, they come to our party,
their party
and all that stuff, and we get to know the officer.
So it's kind of a community within a community. And I like that because a lot of times when you go to trial, because people see stuff on TV and they expect that animosity, if I'm in the courtroom with a prosecutor and I'm talking to them and we're laughing and joking and the jury sees it, they think, okay, this case isn't that serious. So that's already an advantage for my client. I'm all about field position.
So we could be hanging out on Friday and Monday. I see you in court. So I'm like, hey, we had a good time. And then she tell my ass up on the stand. I'm like, you dirty mother.
Because sometimes you got to get on the stand if it goes to trial, right?
And all that other stuff, that personal relationship, it goes out the window because you really want to talk about. It's not what we say on the paper or what we write. That's our story. It's about what can be proven.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's what can be proven. And we just enforce the law. We don't interpret it. So a lot of times we think it's a slam dunk. Like we talk about, is this my cup?
It depends.
On what?
On whether or not you know what's in the cup, and whether or not you got dominion and control over your cup. Just because it's in your area doesn't mean it's your cup.
That's right. That could be a kilo of cocaine. Right there.
Wow. So you got to the defense attorney office in what year?
2005. No, I'm sorry, 2006. We getting 2006.
You were still on the force in 2006?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So 2006. We had
blazing.
We had pretty much got over the crack era.
Yeah.
Have we?
Yeah.
Well,
I saw a decline in the late 90s. I saw it doing the numbers.
Yeah.
A lot of it was, when did they close the welfare, independent welfare?
That was about somewhere between like 92 and 95.
Right. So it took that independent check of the single man, single woman without children could get welfare refund.
Right.
You remember that?
Oh,
England.
The streets dried up significantly.
And it was more so
very angry about that legislation.
Getting people off of drugs too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's an every 2 week.
Something people don't talk about.
What's that?
Dope dealers back in the day used to vote, and they were involved in what was going on in the community. They didn't just sit around.
Well, I think dope, for lack of a better word, the dope man used to be a part of the community.
Right. Yeah.
As we were speaking when GQ was there, I mean, we used to sponsor.
Pal.
I remember. I used to have a neighbor on my street, and she used to sell pills. She worked for a pharmacist, and she used to sell pills out the back of the pharmacy. And she and her boss and some other people used to sponsor a PAL League up at Peterson Park every year. They had the nicest in Peterson.
So,
let me just interject this in right quick. Mm-hmm. You know, that sometimes that folks think that your local police officers are the one that really send you to prison on those drug cases. It's the feds.
It is the feds.
Yes, they pick up the case, and we're just pawns, man.
Yeah,
we're just pawns, just trying to do a job. You don't get no time with us, really. I mean, I've locked up guys with 1,000 pounds of weed, man. Slap on the wrist. Stay up underneath. Just stay up underneath that radar.
Yeah. If you could stay on the state side, you could.
I was gonna say my whole life, we always knew. I mean, our God is good, knock on wood. I always knew if I ended up going to jail, it was gonna be the feds to put me in jail. You know.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't gonna be the local. And right, and all things relative, you guys are a lot fairer than the feds are.
That's right. You know, life.
Yeah, because the feds don't really want to cut you any breaks unless you want to snitch on everybody.
That's right.
Yeah.
650. Life.
With no possibility of parole. What in the world? Who could think of such a thing?
Once you started making laws like that,
Right.
Yeah, that was your.
once laws started being made like that, that's when you started seeing an increase in homicide because people started valuing life less.
Yeah.
If I get more time for selling dope than killing you,
What is going on? And
why not just make money off of killing you?
That's right. That's real talk there. That's real talk.
it does say something about a society that will punish you more, which led to people from my world saying it is obvious that society is saying the worst thing in the world is a black man trying to get some money. Because if I kill another black man, I'll do less time than getting caught out here hustling. So what exactly we say? What message were we sending? But kind of back, we were talking off camera about some things, the way our neighborhoods used to function and how they are now. The policeman and the dope man back in the day both wanted the same thing for the young people on the block. They both wanted them not to, the dope man didn't want those kids not to have to be the dope man like him.
Exactly.
And wanted them to stay out the way of the policeman. The policeman on the block didn't want to one day have to be locking this knucklehead up. And wanted him to stay out the way and go live a nice, happy, productive life. So then you ask yourself, what happens fast forward now, where the policeman no longer live in the neighborhood and the dope man has no responsibility or connection or he's not even a part of the community. He's a parasite in the community because and I can say it. I mean, I think I'm in a position to say it. You know, all you do in your neighborhood is sell dope. You are a parasite. If you're not recycling any of that money, if it is all about you want to sell drugs so you can drive a nice car and take your money to the Arabs and throw it up in the air, and nobody on your block can come get tuition money, rent money, then
What happened to those days, man?
See, that's when I think that's when the sense of community was greater. And it's like we were talking about. You had the preacher, the dope man, the numbers man. Those are the ones who kept the community fighting. You could always go to one or all of them to get your needs met. And the more we started moving away from our neighborhoods and our community and integrating into other neighborhoods and community, the less we cared about those who needed that help. And so it got a lot easier to say no because you're not saying no to your neighbor. You're saying no to somebody you don't want to come move into your new neighborhood.
So, right, if you read our book, it's available on Amazon, Getting Off Zero, Get Your Mind Right, Get Your Money Right. I believe, yes, chapter 2, page 27 is The Curse of Integration. And we talk about what would the block look like if GQ lived on the same street as I lived on, and Lou lived on, and the funeral home owner lived on, and the preacher lived on, right? If Pastor Winan or Pastor Kinlock or who's down at Greater Grace, or Pastor Ellis, or it was Second Ebenezer, Pastor Vance, it's over Second Ebenezer. If y'all still lived, well, put off, right? And Big Meat, y'all lived on the same street, you'd have a very stable neighborhood.
Yeah, his mom and that parents, from what I heard.
Yeah, and that's when
The parents still lived down there.
Meat and them.
I tell you.
And was always church.
Shout out to them.
And shout out to the whole BMF family, to Meach and T, and Little Meach, and we looking forward to season 3. And we was just down in the projects talking to KK. Shout out to the big homie KK.
Okay.
Yeah, and really helped him and his brother Lawrence help Meach and T get their thing really going. Yeah, a couple from church going family, and still live right there in Southwest Detroit, and been part of the community.
About the 80s.
See, but that's the thing.
That's
like
why
pastors used to live in the neighborhood.
You're not gonna find nobody saying that.
But now that you have these mega churches, the pastors don't live in the neighborhood, so there's no vested interest in buying up the houses in the neighborhood to providing low-income housing for the members of the church.
That's right.
That used to happen. That happened at my church, but I grew up in.
Buy the whole block.
Yeah, they would buy the whole block. I remember when our church used to organize marches, to protest drug dealers moving into certain neighborhoods and stuff like that, and organizing peace treaties with different gangs and things that were trying to come up in the neighborhood around the church. You don't see that anymore.
No.
You see 5 churches on the same block. They all little storefront churches, and none of them are working together to do nothing. And then you see all these overrun lots in and around the churches, and it's just ignorant.
I mean, the family ended up getting a real estate portfolio of houses because they were buying houses for friends and families to live in.
Yeah.
Before they looked up, we owned 15 houses.
Because back then it doesn't make sense for me to have all of this and everybody I live and associate with is still starving.
Mm-hmm.
Now, people don't necessarily care about that. It's just, look what I got, get like me.
And I was always taught, I can't enjoy my steak if everybody around me is hungry and keep looking at my steak.
Right.
For me really to be able to enjoy my steak, I need to get you one and get you one, then we can all have ourselves a nice time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, so 2006, crack era is a little bit over. You got the children. You are getting the first generation of the children of the crack era. I hate to say it, but you're dealing with the crack babies now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's right.
You kind of saw that, GQ, right?
I did. It's I don't have any children, for sure, but I have a niece and nephew and got quite a few cousins. I got a big family, so I saw it, family members, experimenting with drugs, but I have never seen it like this now. And I see it more now because I'm retired, and I'm gonna be a Detroiter to the day I die now. No time soon, for sure. But
Yeah. These drugs with our young people, I don't know why the people won't talk about it. I mean, well, you're seeing it, you're still practicing. I mean,
Yeah.
how often is people being under the influence involved with their criminality?
A lot, unfortunately. I mean, even if it's not the actual case, and I mean, I hate to say it, but I saw it a lot on Zoom during the pandemic. Like, you have people who are on Zoom, lighting up, smoking weed, waiting for their case to be called.
Wow. I'm blazing before trial.
Yeah,
nobody's talking about this type
and
of
the
stuff
thing
like
is,
that.
like getting high used to be a stigma. Now it's like a social thing.
Or
Like,
even a
now
bad
you
job.
see people getting high on live on social media. Like, that used to never happen. Like, you didn't want people to know you got high.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I think that shift in the community, and not just our community, but just in society in general, I think it just kind of changes how people look at drugs. Like you were just saying, when we were off camera, like, no one wanted to be the dope user. Some people wanted to be the dope seller, but no one wanted to be the dope user.
Right.
And now it's like,
It's okay to be Pookie.
well, maybe not Pookie, but
Even though they headed to be Pookie.
Right.
yeah,
And for you guys too young, we're talking about the classic movie.
New Jack City.
And we were talking, we were talking off camera, because actually Mario Van Peebles said, like, shout out to Dr. Carl Taylor, worked with us on our first doc. They came to see Detroit and how it was going down. It's really what gave them the idea of the effects of crack, that. Even though it was set in New York,
Right.
they did the research for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a city of hustlers.
It's a city, yeah.
Hard as hustlers.
Yeah.
And they it's so multifaceted that the hustle mentality runs through Detroit.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
doubt.
Time.
But
Terrible.
what I mean,
They don't
what we real people should not. Wait a minute. We was just wait a minute. I was in market. Let me tell you something. We was just talking about this is a time. This is a town where you got people who like
All my clients are innocent of these accusations and allegations.
This is a town where people own homes, own cars, and don't know their social security number. They've never filled out a job application.
Credit card.
I've got friends that 800 credit scores. They don't even know they have, but the thing is, they don't even know they have an 800 credit score because they pay for everything in cash. I just described a couple of friends and family. They was like, they went to buy a car. They was like, I just cash it out. And the man was like, oh, let's just see this. Like, nah, I just cash it out. And then the man ran the credit. He's like, you know, you have an 825. What's that? He's like, you can get the car with no money down. And then Cubs was like, but one day I gotta pay for it. No. I might as well pay for it. He was like, so. Then he was like, well, because you know, in my line of work, we chicken goes south tomorrow. I might run into GQ tonight. It might not be in a pot of soul. No, we just need to pay cash for this now.
Not to discredit the hustlers all over. It's urban. New York, California, you know.
Shout out to the New York hustlers.
Appreciate y'all, but you know, I'm telling you, it's a certain type of, what you call it? It's a certain type of
We got a certain breed.
fever in this motherfucker.